Hello, you are listening to Just Films and That. This is the podcast where we celebrate films we think deserve a little bit more love. Whether they're underrated or underseen, we're going to tackle them one film at a time. A little bit different this week. We're doing another Spotlight on episode as we have done before with things like Egg Timer a few months ago, and before that, The Other Fellow. We're talking about a film called Largo with two filmmakers called Salvatore Scarpa and Max Burgoyne-Moore, who've written and directed Largo, which is a film essentially about the refugee crisis that explores the refugee crisis through the eyes of a child living in the UK who essentially misses home, misses his mum and dad, and decides to build a boat or get in a boat and to try and travel home. It's essentially a film, as we touched on an episode, to try and just explore that issue, generate some empathy and compassion for, what is a matter that I think we see every day in the papers. And it's a really, really important one. So I sat down with Max and Sal just to have a little bit of a chat about how they made the film, how it came to be, what they hope people take from it, and what they've got coming up next. So have a listen, but before you do, obviously we do touch on the whole idea of the refugee crisis, fleeing from war, things like that. Whilst it's not particularly heavy, I just wanted to give you fair warning as a little bit of a trigger warning, just because we do touch on those subjects. Really enjoyed sitting down with Max and Sal. Give it a listen. Well, as I said in the intro, I'm joined by Sal Scarpa and Max Burgoyne-Moore. How are you both? Thanks very much for coming on. Come to you first, Sal. How are you doing?
Doing very well, thank you. Thank you for having us.
It's an absolute pleasure. Max, how are you?
Yeah, not bad, thanks.
Not bad for a rainy Thursday. Not to give away when we're recording this, because every Thursday's rainy at the moment.
I mean, hasn't it rained every single day of this year so far?
We've broken a record for
yes. And people say it's shit being British. Do you know what I mean? We can keep breaking our own records.
Record breaking.
Well, yes, thank you very much for coming on. As I said in the intro, the film what we're talking about is your short film Largo. So let's get right into it then. So tell the guys at home. Obviously, I've said a little bit in the intro there about what it's about, and we'll talk a little bit about that as we go along. Tell us a little bit. How did this film come about? Like, obviously, you wrote it together, you directed it together. How did it come about? Was it based on anything? I know it's not based on pre-existing. Well, it's based on pre-existing situation, but it's not based on a pre-existing material, as far as I know. How did it come about?
Go for it, Self.
We always like to surprise each other with who says this, but we come from a town in the Midlands.
Okay.
We actually met when we were little. We went to school together, and we basically, when the refugee crisis initially broke out in Europe and eventually made its way up through to the UK, we just noticed the reaction to refugees and people looking for safety from people we know, and we didn't really like that. We didn't like the way people were reacting to it. We didn't agree with it. We were surprised by a lot of people that we usually saw as welcoming and friendly, and as you know, it's quite a hot topic right now. We're talking about it pretty much every day in the news, and it's all over the world. And anyway, so this film was kind of a response to that, and it was our way of trying to talk about it and change those people's minds.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so one thing I really liked about it is that you took a really specific focus on it. Like you say, obviously it's an issue that affects everybody involved in the issue, but you particularly focus on the sort of perspective of a child in this, and I thought that was really good because obviously, basically, you're focusing on the most vulnerable people there. So I thought, was that obviously a decision that you made to go for that, or did you just think we needed an angle and you sort of needed a particular perspective? Max, what do you want to come in on that? What did you think about that?
Yeah, it sort of started off from the get-go. It was always about a kid. And like the very initial idea was a kid trying to leave rather than the story of someone coming to the UK. Just because it's that thing that everyone can empathize with, not just a kid, but also that feeling of being homesick and lonely, and also having the sort of weird paradoxical optimism, like sure, he's in a terrible situation, but also he's going on an adventure to find his parents. So there's sort of a bit of hope, a light at the end of the tunnel, which hopefully draws in people that otherwise might not agree with what we're saying.
I thought
Get them
that,
on
yeah, I thought that was really, because I also thought I liked the fact that you used multiple children to show the issues. Obviously, you've got the main child. Is it Musa, his character? Is it?
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
right. But then you've got the other children who both reflect the views of those around them, but also we know because the children don't form those opinions. Do you know what I mean? Or well, not at that age anyway. Yeah. And so the whole thing is they're reflective of the issue, but also then it's like, oh, they almost see it as a game. And I thought that was a really interesting way of getting the point across. So yeah, thank you for that. So how did it sort of? I suppose an interesting question is because we've done a few of these episodes now, and this is the second one we've done on a short film. Why is there a particular reason you chose to do it as a short film, or is it simply that's the best way you found to do it from start to finish sort of thing? What's the benefit of doing it as a short film? Is it because you can have that sort of bookended narrative quite nicely, or is it just simply that's the best way to do it for you guys as up and coming filmmakers?
If we're being honest, the first reason we did it as a short was the money. Like if we had the money to make
you've got to be
feature,
honest about it. Why not be honest about it? That's a practicality of it, isn't it?
Yeah, nobody would give us the money to make a feature at that time. Thanks, Matt.
But then a lot of films do start out of, if you look at one of the best films we did on this on the podcast that I really enjoyed was Thunder Road, which started,
I love Thunder Road.
But that started as a short film, and then they made it into it. Then they made it into a feature. Is that something you guys could see happening with this, or is it just one of those things where you're building up your work as it stands at the moment?
Yeah, we're sort of on the fence about it. Like,
that
if someone was super keen to give us the money, we'd do it. But what I was going to say is that was the initial reason we did a short, and then we sort of knew it was always going to be a short because we knew we wouldn't be able to get that cash. And then we really built the story specifically to fit into that time frame of like 20 minutes ish.
Yeah.
And like I think we sort of done it. Like there's a lot of stuff we had to cut in the writing process and even in the editing process. We shot entire scenes that aren't in the film, and we'd love to deal with that subject matter more, but I feel like the structure of the whole thing works so well in 20 minutes that had we tried to make a feature out of that particular version of it, we would have had to just pad it out a bit, which is not really what anyone wants to watch.
No. So you both write and direct it then. How do you guys tackle that? Do you sort of separate things into different duties, or do you just figure it out as you go along? I mean, like you said,
how do you tackle that? Good question.
Yeah, you guys are friends, right? So there must be an element of sort of symbiosis as you go along. If you've been friends since you were children, there is that element of working together because you know each other. Do you just separate the duties as you go? How does that work?
The fact that we've known each other for as long as we have makes it a lot easier to just call each other out on stuff we disagree with. That is absolutely true. We have the same taste in a lot of stuff. We share the same taste, particularly in cinema, in film, and so that kind of answers a lot of questions from the off. We know that the influences are going to be the same. We can automatically go, oh, that scene that, and we can kind of use that and kind of communicate without saying words.
Yeah, because you know each other so well, right?
Yeah. And I mean, that we always have these arguments behind closed doors so that when we get to set, everything goes smoothly, and everybody thinks we're harmoniously reading each other's minds,
Yeah. Do you have a deal breaking technique, a rock, paper, scissors, a flip of the coin, or is it just whoever wins?
Yeah, we just keep arguing until an answer comes around.
Someone gives up.
I think usually it's not like the idea that either one of us had initially.
Yes.
It's not so much a compromise, it's we keep arguing until we like together stumble across a secret third answer that we didn't know about initially.
Yeah, so it's like it's the best part of compromise in that sense, isn't it? So in terms of the film then, what was the most difficult part of shooting it? I mean, there's some pretty difficult shots in there where you're working with, they say never work with children. There's obviously child actors in it. You've got shots on the ocean there. What was the most difficult part of the shoot?
Oh, I mean,
it's tempting to say the stuff at sea.
I can imagine so, yeah.
That was a lot of fun, and we had such a great team around us that sort of made it quite easy. We had like Roy Taylor as a stunt coordinator, and he's done huge movies like superhero stuff and Barbie, and he was way overqualified for us on a short. And then like Rick Hakim, our DOP, and Johnny Diaz, our production designer,
Yeah.
like every aspect of that, being in the sea with a boat that a 10-year-old boy made, had a 10-year-old 11-year-old actor at the time. Fallen overboard, like all that stuff seems complicated, and it took a lot of like pre-production problem solving.
Yeah.
But actually on the day, like it was just quite fun. Like we're all just on the beach.
Yeah,
There's an
that's the
element,
truth
isn't
of
there?
it.
I can imagine there's an element with a film with something like that where you go, well, we're here now, we've got to make it work, so it can't
Exactly,
not,
yeah,
it
you
can't
just
not
sort of
work. We've
go
just got to
with
go. We've got to do it until it's done, sort of thing, right?
Yeah, I mean, there were instances where we thought we were going to lose scenes, where in the end we managed to find time on the next day to squeeze them in,
Yeah.
and it's all that puzzle sort of fitting things together, and in the end, actually, the hard stuff was before we got to set, and when we were in the edit, we were really trying to figure out how the film would puzzle together, even though we had actually planned everything very strictly up until the shoot. Where when you're on set, you just kind of you make do, and and the reality was we were surrounded by so many incredible people. We could trust everybody to help and figure it out with us.
How long was the shoot?
4 days.
Oh wow! So I mean, that's a lot to get done in 4 days. I mean, for if you think about how long they say it takes to make massive blockbusters for the guys listening at home. I mean, it's crazy the work that goes into it.
Yeah, I mean, we could have made a feeture.
Yeah, 4 days.
We only needed
4 days.
Like we shot enough. The initial first edit was like just over half an hour. So,
well done.
Yeah.
I mean, for what came
Couple
out of it
extra
for
days.
4 days. I mean, that's a hell of a 4 days worth of work. I have to say that's brilliant. So, how when you're making a film like this, does the set? I mean, 4 days, but does the set reflect the subject matter? Like, obviously, people often say, you as the directors, you take that tone with you. Some people, you're the director, it's collaborative. Some people know what we say goes. Does the set, when you're working with subject matter like this, is that reflected in the tone? Is it quite somber, or is it a case of, no, we've got to keep it upbeat because it's so somber, otherwise it's going to grind everyone down? How do you manage that as directors?
I think everybody on set was in tune because they knew what we were doing, had some kind of deeper message or deeper mission, at least beyond like festivals and beyond the film streaming wherever or playing, so that automatically set like a standard on set, and because we had an apprenticeship program where we had people from refugee community working on the project behind the camera, in front of the camera. So that was all it kind of made everything feel a little more important, and I hate using the word authentic, but there was a level of of authenticity that came with that, and having people being able to be there and call us out on things. And,
it takes the ego out of it rather than no one's like, oh yeah, we're movie stars and big shot filmmakers. It's like no, everyone's there for the right reason.
It is I know what you mean. You want to avoid the word like authentic, but it certainly must get that something like that with a story like this must keep it grounded, because the people who've been through it are right there. Absolutely. Right? So that it's there. How was it to direct children around this subject matter? Like, did you have to explain stuff to them? Did they get it, or did you manage to keep it so that it was just a case of say the lines, do it like this, and don't worry about anything else?
No, we started by explaining it in a very sort of simple way, and then you realize pretty quickly that the kids get it. Like, their entire lives they've had what we call the refugee crisis, like just around them on the news. All the kids were like 10, 11. So it's like we started writing it in 2016. So yeah, pretty much when they were born has been. And so they got it, and we sort of we gradually realized you didn't need to sugarcoat it, or whatever the phrase is. We didn't have to wear mittens. Kids
surprise you, don't they? The stuff they pick up, it's mad, really. I mean, it must, like you said, that if you're exposed to it whole life. I mean, you could argue it feels like we've been exposed to it our whole lives, because things chop it. Obviously not in a constant, but things things fluctuate in this manner depending on what's going on in the world. Like you say, it's been particularly prevalent in the last couple of years, unfortunately, because of various things and wars and things like that. So I suppose this may seem like an obvious question, but is there a particular thing or a particular couple of things you would like people to get from this film? I say that because sometimes the answer can surprise you. Is there a particular thing you think I'd be happy if someone came away from it or is it just simply about driving that compassion?
I think, it is just empathy. We made it sort of remind people, particularly people we knew and grew up with, that like people, especially kids, but people who are refugees, like they didn't choose to make that journey and risk their lives to come to the UK. Like it's not a frivolous decision. And in most cases, if the people could go home, they would. Like if their homeland was safe, they would much rather be there. And that's sort of a big part of the film is this is a kid who hasn't got his parents and doesn't quite get the culture, and no one in the UK quite gets where he's coming from. And that we should be treating people with compassion because they've been forced to do something traumatic. And
I obviously I watched it for this, and I certainly took that away. I also quite like the way you dealt with the subject matter in the sense of we've touched on that perspective of a child, but also things like you don't spoon feed the audience, so you sort of there are some things this is my take and this is my reading from it, but you leave some things open to interpretation. Like for example, I don't think the film openly says whether Moose's parents are still with us or not.
Yeah, we wanted to keep the information the audience has to be the same information the kid has.
Yes, exactly. So you've mentioned a little bit off air that you're doing a little bit of work with school outreach. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about that? Because that sounds really interesting. You don't get many films on, particularly we don't tackle many films like this where it's like, and we're doing some outreach work. So tell us a little bit more about how that works and what you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, that was kind of part of this. The whole time we were making this film, we kind of wanted the film to go beyond the festival circuit, as I mentioned earlier. Like as important as that was for us as filmmakers, and for the film to get exposure, like the fact that kids don't tend to go to film festivals, and this is kind of the point of this film is like hopefully it will influence future generations and it will open discourse in schools. Our producers, Rashid Sabitri and Charles Mounier, were brilliant from the off. They started working with Good Chance, the refugee theatre charity, and they helped us create this schools program where the film's now this year for Refugee Week is going to play in schools, and there's going to be workshops around the film, in drama, poetry, and filmmaking. And so, it's been really great for us. We actually took it back to our old school in Leicestershire a few months back to trial it, and it was brilliant. The conversation that kids sort of have after watching the film is really it's really encouraging. The kids are so intelligent, and we're really excited about that. That starts this year fully.
I suppose that's another benefit. I suppose that's another benefit of a short film, isn't it? Is you can take that and use it for that as a tool for learning, as well as a tool for engagement, as well as a tool for
it fits in a lesson. Lesson plan.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when we were at school, if the teacher was hungover, they just put Shrek on. So it's a bit different to that, isn't it?
I've seen the first 10 minutes of The Mummy more times.
Which was Shrek, or I think maybe one of the Austin Powers, which I think you questioned, should you be showing that to school children?
Excellent.
But really, what's next for you guys? Does this do you carry on with the circuit and things like that? Have you already got other projects lined up? Tell us what's next.
A bit of both.
Yeah, the film's playing at Manchester Film Festival next month, which is really exciting.
This should come out around then as well, which is great.
Oh, excellent. Yeah, I mean, there's that, and there's a few more festivals coming up, and the film will carry on doing its thing at festivals, and we'll try to be there and enjoy watching it with audiences, because that never gets old. Yeah, and then the film we're working with our distributor, which should be available for people to watch soon, which is also very exciting for us. That sort of it's just going to be readily available for people. And then we're working on our working on our first feature. We're developing that, so that's really exciting. And we're working on a TV show that we're kind of pumping away on, which is really,
Excellent.
the next two projects that we're
Can you tell us
focusing on.
anything about either of those, or is it Stum?
Yeah, sure. Max, which one do you want to talk about?
I'll go feature. You said that one first.
We are a film. We are a film podcast, so
Yeah. The feature is a I'm going to say semi-autobiographical. That's a lie. It's a very exaggerated version of a sort of weird mishmash of Sal's life and a bit of my life, and then a bunch of fictional stuff about two brothers who go back to Italy for the first time in 30 years. And it's going to be sort of epic, like Largo, and a bit covering, not refugees, but that feeling of not feeling at home where you are. But also it's going to be a bit of a comedy, because that's sort of our vibe as well.
Oh, good. That sounds really interesting. It must be interesting to take an element of your own life, turn it into a narrative, and then be able to play about with it. Like almost present with a version of the truth, but also like inject it with that imagination.
Sal and his brother, who are both actors as well, will be playing versions of themselves. So sort of
double duty then, Sal.
Yeah, that's right. Well, that's the benefit of having a co-director. You can let him do the directing when you're busy. But then this comes back to what we were saying earlier about the fact that we share a lot of things in common, and we've always ever since we've known each other, we've always talked about Italian stories and stories about like misunderstanding things and miscommunication, and also now going to America, we've been speaking a lot about this thing of like Americans going, oh, I'm Italian, I'm Italian American, but they've never been, they've never actually experienced the culture that their ancestors come from. So yeah, we've kind of delved into that really deeply recently, and we've come out with this exciting idea that we're hoping we're going to shoot later this year if everything goes well.
That sounds really interesting. Whereabouts in Italy do you sort of originate from or hail from, Sal?
I'm originally from Sardinia.
Oh yeah. Very nice.
We're hoping to shoot it there. So yeah,
lovely. Tell us a little bit about the TV show as well that you mentioned.
That one is a TV show about the communities in London, the different cultures and different communities that make up the sort of the melting pot that is the city of London. So every episode focuses on different cultures in the city of London. It's it's an exciting project where we're going to get to work with a lot of creatives.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
All sounds very interesting. Obviously, wish you all the best of luck with that. And before you guys go, give us a recommendation. So when we have guests on, sometimes we ask them, think of a film that you think the guys at home should watch that's underrated or underseen. Feel free to do one each.
Underrated, underseen.
Yeah. Either, both, anything. And we've had some really mad shouts, so do not be afraid to think of something. If you can think of any.
I'm going to start with it's a Studio Ghibli film, but it's one of the few that most people have skipped, called Porco Rosso, which is about a pig who flies a plane.
Okay. That's very Ghibli.
Set in Italy. Most of the Ghibli films are like, they're fantasy and weird, and this one, besides the fact the main character is a pig, which they never explain, it's otherwise quite like, it's almost like Casablanca, but
right.
But Humphrey Bogart's a pig.
But Humphrey Bogart's a pig. I'm trying to watch more Ghibli films, so I'll make sure I add that to my list.
That is one of my favorites as well.
Okay. What about you, Sal? Have you got anything?
I always say this when people ask me this, but I do genuinely believe that this is one of the best films ever made, especially for film geeks. And I always say Bicycle Thieves. It's an old Italian.
I thought you were going to say Human Centipede 2.
Nice. If you're going to do a Human Centipede, it's probably the third one, isn't it?
They say the longer the centipede, the better, right?
The more centipede. No. So yeah, the Bicycle Thieves. Is it the Bicycle Thieves?
Bicycle Thieves. Your Ladri di Bicicletta in the original title. It's a brilliant piece of historic cinema. It's Italian neo-realist time. It's just post-war Italy. And it's just about a man who gets his bike nicked and he has to go looking for his bike with his little kid. And that film influenced Largo a lot, and it influences pretty much every film idea Max and I talk about. And I think it's a brilliant film for anybody who's a bit of a film geek.
Yeah.
Okay. It's aged very well as well.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Two very different films for you guys at home to check out. Maybe we'll cover them on a future episode. Who knows? So before you go, guys, tell us where can we find your stuff? Where can we find I know the film's doing this festival circuit at the moment. We'll make sure we put links to it. Is there anywhere you want the guys at home to look out for stuff, or just follow you on social media and things like that?
You can find us on Instagram, or Largo Film, or via the Slick Films Instagram as well. We're sharing stuff through there all the time. We're online. We exist. You search for our names.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much for coming on. We'll put links to everything in the show notes, and best luck with the rest of the run, guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Well, there we go. Thank you very much to Max and Sal for sitting down with me to chat to me about how Largo came to be, what they hope people get from it, where it's playing, what's going on with it. Really, really interesting to talk to them about that. About things like the benefit of a short film, how it comes to be, that idea of a short film as a method for, maybe inspiring change, or at the very least to educate kids and things like that. We talk a lot about films on this podcast. It is a film podcast. And I think one of the things that we hope to do more is to touch on films like this that hope to either change the world in a small way or educate people. And I think this film very much does that. Really, really enjoyed the film. Obviously, really powerful subject matter, really powerfully done. I found the film very, very affecting. All the things that we touched on there about how they're showing the issue through a child's perspective, child eyes, that idea of empathy and humanizing what's essentially become a political tool, and reminding people at home, people watching, that what is actually at stake in instances such of this, and things like that. Really, really enjoy the film. Not going to get into it too much because I don't want to spoil it for people. Do check it out, particularly if you're interested in the issue. But even if you're not, I think it's important to broaden horizons and watch things like this. One final thing is Tamsin Greig's in it, and for me, one of the finest actors working today. I've not really known many other actors who can walk the line between drama and comedy as effortlessly as she can. She deserves all the acclaim that she gets and more. Really enjoyed the film and the way that they got the message across. I'll put all the links in the show notes that I can for people who want to check out the stuff, or give them a follow on social media. Because we're all about supporting up and coming filmmakers, and filmmakers making interesting work like these guys are, as they were, as we did with Egg Timer as well. Check it out. Thank you very much for listening. We'll be back next week with another episode. It's goodbye from me. Cheerio.